first impression of your podcast is your cover art. So it's very, very important to make sure that your cover art is crafted to the way the message you want to put out to your audience. So in this video, I'm going to have my good friend Nikesh from Pod Valley show you how to actually create and craft a perfect cover art for your podcast.
Your podcast cover art is one of the most crucial parts of your podcast. Now, why is it crucial? I'm pretty sure you've heard of the saying that says, "Don't judge a book by its cover." But it's crazy how we always judge a book by its cover, right? So think about it. If you're walking down, a bookstore, let's say Barnes & Noble's, and you're walking down, you're looking at thousands and thousands of books, right? But the book that catches your attention is one that's, kind of cool looking. The cover is colorful, or it has cool words that kind of pop out to you. And you end up picking up that book, right? And picking up that book doesn't mean you're going to read it completely, but at least you were interested and you will give it a shot, right? You might open up, read the first chapter, might read the back, might read about what it's, about, or something like that. But that cover of that book did cause you to pretty much kind of, pick up that book, right? And get interested in it. So that's the same thing with cover art. So if let's say I'm trying to find a new podcast, the first thing I'm going to go is either I'm going to open up, Apple Podcast or Google Play or even Spotify, and I'm going to, search for podcasts, the topic that I'm looking for. And then I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and I'm going to look at, the whole list. But mostly I'm going to click on something that's interesting, right? That might look at the cover art and be like, okay, this looks cool. Let me click on it. Let me read about it. Let me play one of the episodes. So it's the same thing as the book example, okay? I'm going to go and look through a list and I'm going to pick out the one that's probably going to have the cover art that's going to, interest me. So hopefully that shows you that it's really important to have a good cover art, and it's crucial because that's the first thing someone is going to see when they're looking for a podcast. So now that being said, there are a few rules that you need to kind of follow in order to make sure your cover art is perfect and is that eye-catching, okay? So number one is it should only be 1/4 text. So don't have a bunch of text on there. You have no idea how many times I see, really, really bad cover art, and it's because it's crowded with text. If I have to sit there and squint my eyes to read what it says, I'm just going to get tired and move on. Aren't you going to do the same? So just think about that. So 1/4 text, okay? Let's not have too much text on there. Next thing is originality. The worst thing is looking at a podcast and, thinking that it was copied from another one. Okay? I don't want to go listen to a bootleg podcast that looks like something that's already famous. So, I'm never going to click on it. No one's going to click on it. So don't steal someone else's cover art and just make it yours, right? You can use other people's idea and make it very similar, but don't just, take their cover art and change the title and maybe change one picture, okay? Don't do that. Next thing is color scheme. Now, if your colors are not appealing to me, why would I click on it, right? And don't overthink this. What this pretty much means is don't have a red background and black text, okay? That is not pleasing to the eye. That's gonna hurt my head and I'm never gonna click on it. So understand color schemes. And guys, a quick Google search will help you with this, okay? So understand what colors look good next to each other and pretty much be your own judge. If you look at the cover art and you're like, wow, this is beautiful, this is nice, then it's gonna work. But if you look at it and you're like, something looks off, then it's probably not going to work. So that's how you can pretty much kind of judge your color scheme. Now the last thing is any cover art you make or you get made or whatever, make sure it's in a vector format. Now why vector format? Because vector formats you can, increase the size or make it smaller or do anything, and it's not going to change the pixel. So if it changes the pixel and it looks distorted when you make it bigger, it's not going to look good. Plus, maybe you want to make, t-shirts, hats, any type of merchandise later in the future. It's good to have a vector format because, again, you can make it big, shrink it, put it on a shirt, do anything like that. So remember, vector formats. So hopefully you got those 4 rules. Again, very simple, very easy to do. Now, let me show you what, a good cover art is. I kind of misspelled this, but what I want to do is pretty much show you a Google search of good cover art, okay? So let's go ahead and look. I went ahead and searched through Google. So these are some famous people. And I'm just going to go ahead and click on some of these, okay? So here's a couple of good, as you can say, good cover art. And now when I look at it, look, the text is so perfect. It does not take up the whole screen. Really takes up 1/4 or even a little bit of that. It's simple, it's easy, and it's, like right now I can tell you just looking at this, I'm interested in this food stuff. Looks cool. I'm interested in this one. It says good job brain. It's so, like just looking at the podcast, I might not know what it is, but I want to definitely check it out now. So let me show you a few other ones. And this did not load good. Let me try this one. Okay, as you can see, there's so many out there, and you can use these as an example for yourself. And it goes over everything that I talked about. Okay, one, it's perfect as in the text wise. Look at the colors. None of these colors hurt your eyes, right? You can look at them and they look pretty, they look good, and they look, interesting. So again, you guys can do this. So go ahead, Google, good cover art or podcast cover art, and really you'll see other people's podcasts and you'll kind of understand how to make your own cover art. So now the next thing is making your cover art, right? So if you know like Photoshop, anything like that, you have graphic design background, then go ahead, create the cover art. Now there's a few examples. So the first thing is it needs to be 1400 by 1400. Or it needs to be by 3000 by 3000. Okay, so that's the size you need to make it, and I would say go ahead and make it 3000 by 3000 because you can always shrink it later, right? And again, if you do it in that vector format, doesn't matter how big or small you make it, it's going to fit on your merchandise and anything like that. Now the next thing is, let's say you're not a graphic designer, or you have no idea how to make this cover art look pretty. Well, you have nothing to worry about. Go ahead and go to Fiverr.com. That's Fiverr, so double R's.com. And I went ahead, as you can see up here, I searched podcast cover. And now, as you can see, there's so many people, these are people with graphic design backgrounds that have done other cover arts. And you can see it will cost you a little bit of money, but not crazy amounts. Okay, so this one is $10. I can already tell there's some really good ones in here. This one's $15, and you can see has really good cover art. And you can scroll down there. Here's one for $5, and this does not look bad. So I would go ahead and get it created by someone. I don't come from graphic background, knowledge or anything like that. I do know a little bit here and there, but if I do it this way, it's super easy, super simple. I don't need anything like Photoshop or anything installed on my computer. They'll do it for me. If I need it to be edited, they will edit it for me. So it makes it super simple and easy. So guys, remember again, there are 4 rules that you want to follow when creating your cover art. If you do it from Fiverr.com, these people will already know this stuff. And then here are the sizes to where you want to make your cover art.
Thank you so much, Nikesh, for that video. We really enjoyed it. Make sure to visit podvalley.com to get more tools, more resource, and connect with other podcasters. Thank you so much, and subscribe to this channel right now. Thank you so much.